So these are the cards that are in the new blood pack if you open it up here. So it's a fairly small pool of cards for starters, and that's nice because you can kind of control. It makes it easy to know kind of what you can expect. But a couple of things here. First of all, if you look at the last 4 cards, Omega Dragon, Consuelo, Genom, I call him Genom, but it's supposed to be Genom, I think. Genom and Alpha Dragon. So those are the last 4 cards on the list. They're the ones that have been on the list the longest, and they've cycled all the way through, and they're about to leave the list. Okay. So the next release, which is this Friday, like I said, these 4, those 4 cards will cycle out of New Bloods, and we'll get 4 new cards. So if you look at the very beginning of the list, Betul, Pavam, Pavam, I guess, Yagan, and Kubra, those are the newest cards on the list. They just came in on the last release. They were the 4 new cards. So this Friday, they'll get bumped a little further down the list here, and we'll get 4 new cards in their place right there. And eventually, Betul, Pavam, Yagan, and Kubra will all cycle through this list. I forget exactly how long it takes. It's like 3 months or something like that. And then they will eventually leave New Bloods. And generally, what happens is on release day, the 4 new cards are released, and their price is generally like as high as it's as high as it's ever going to be, because everyone wants to get their hands on the new cards, right? So for the first few days, those cards are selling for a lot of money. After that, after a couple more releases after that, their price usually settles a little bit and kind of gets to a baseline and kind of stays there for a while until they leave New Bloods. Once they leave New Bloods, generally those cards will start to, their price will just go up and up and up, by small amounts, but they'll generally start to rise in price after they leave New Bloods. So the point of that is, if you do draw any of the new cards on release day, go ahead and do their New Blood missions with them. They'll get New Blood missions, and we'll talk about those in a second. But finish their New Blood missions as quickly as you can, and then sell those bad boys for some sweet cash, baby. Sell them quick, get your cash, and then if you really want those cards a lot, you can buy them back later. For less than you sold them for, basically, or just get them again in another New Blood pack, a month or 2 down the line. So that's what I do with new releases. Now, the other thing is you want to make sure you get all of these New Blood cards before they leave New Bloods, because like I said, they'll start to rise in price after that. So to get them at the lowest price, you want to either purchase them while they're in New Blood packs, not necessarily in a New Blood pack. You can buy them on the market for a decent price. Once they settle, once they get to that baseline, and just kind of have to watch them. But you want to buy these cards while they're in New Bloods, either purchasing them on the market or getting them in New Blood packs. And so it's a nice tight list. And like I said, if you buy one of these every 2 weeks, you'll eventually you'll generally pull all the New Blood cards on this list at some point. Like I said, you may have to buy a few at first, like the ones that are leaving, like Omega Dragon, Consuelo, Ganem, and Alpha Dragon. or Ray Bot, Kwai Liang, Tortuga. Those are the next ones that are going to leave. You might have to buy a few at first, and if you can't afford them, don't worry about it. Just let them go. But eventually, if you're buying one new blood card every release cycle, or one new blood pack every release cycle, you'll eventually collect all the new bloods, and that's what you want to do. You want to just keep up with the new bloods. Just keep up with the new bloods, and that will get you a nice start into the game. Because like I said, new bloods, all the new bloods are the new cards that they're in the meta, right? These are the latest cards. They're mostly all of them are in the meta, and so that'll help you keep up with the other players who have big meta decks. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I think I've said enough about new blood packs. I highly recommend them. I still buy new blood packs, at my level too. It's the best bang for your buck, and as a new player, I highly recommend it. So next, let's see here. How do we get out of this list? Cancel. Okay. So the other packs are Elite packs, Titanium packs, and Armageddon packs. These are the other packs you can spend your credits on. And these aren't horrible packs. Basically, though, they're pulling from... you're going to get a lot of the older cards in these packs, because they're pulling from... they're pulling from like every card that's ever been released in UR, in Urban Rivals, other than collectors and stuff. So these are all the current and past cards, and so because of that, a lot of the older cards are either maybe they're out of date, right? So they're not really very usable anymore, or they're restricted or banned in a lot of the current meta, the current game modes. So that's why I don't really suggest you as a new player buy these packs. But you can. Maybe you wanna complete your you want to get some more of the cards in your clans, right? So if you saw earlier, we got I think it was Geist, Bangers, All Stars, and I forget the other clan. We'll say it was Pussycats. I don't know. So you get to select 4 clans when you purchase an Elite pack. So that narrows down the list a little bit, but you're still pulling from all the cards from all 4 of these clans. That's the pool. So it's still a pretty large pool, but you can limit it by clans. And so if you do buy one of these packs, that's what I suggest you do, is just buy the clans, select the clans you already have, so you can kind of expand your deck a little bit. Maybe replace some of your starting cards with some better cards from those clans. That's what I suggest you do, is just start with the clans you have, and build those up, build some decent decks around those clans, and then you can start branching out after that, right? And trying out other clans. But if you're just hell bent on like oh, the Raptors, I just think the Raptors are the coolest clan ever, right? Then you can select Raptors if you want, whatever. So select 4 clans, and then you just you purchase. You can purchase those, and Titanium and Armageddon are pretty much the same. Titanium lets you narrow it down. It's the same, 4 clans, right? So you're just getting more cards and more rares, I think. If you buy, oops, I went back. Bad me. And then same with Armageddon pack. You're getting more cards, and more rares, basically. And here, Armageddon pack, you choose from 5 clans. So that's how that works. I will buy these packs occasionally, especially, I usually only buy these packs when there's a deal going on. So occasionally they'll do like, buy 2 get 1 free, or like, buy 2 Armageddon packs and get 5,000 crypto coins along with that, or they'll do bonuses like that. That's usually the only time I purchase these elite titanium and Armageddon packs, and that's what I would suggest to you as well. So if you remember, our final type of currency is crypto coins, or cryptos as people call them, and those are for buying these collector packs. And as you can see here, it costs 6,000 crypto coins. That's right, 6,000 friggin' crypto coins to buy a single collector pack. So they're and like I said, these are some of the best cards in the game. Cryptos are worth their weight in gold. I mean, anytime you can get cryptos, I would do it. If you can trade, if you have to trade a few clints to get cryptos, it's worth it, right? And by trading clints for cryptos, I mean, you can't do that straight across, but we'll talk about missions here in a second. You can do it then. So this is the list. This is all the collector cards that have ever been released, and well, all the ones that haven't become mythic yet, right? So it's a pretty big pool, as you can see, and like I said, a lot of these cards are, some of them are just strictly collector cards. As far as like playability, they're not playable. They're just collectors, like Terry CR that we looked at earlier, and Flow CR that we looked at in the All Stars. But others are highly playable. But again, a lot of these cards too are banned or restricted in a lot of the formats, so that's a consideration as well. I would say, as a new player, you want to get your hands on these, and it's tempting as a new player to, like, when you get a CR card, to be like, well, I could sell it for like, I could sell it for 1,000,000 clints and buy a whole bunch of other cards with it. I would not do that personally. I would hold on to these, as tempting as it might be. You can get plenty of clints other ways, mainly daily tournaments, and we'll talk about that in a second here. But I would hold on to your CR cards personally, because any of these CR cards can at some point become mythic cards, and if you're holding a CR that turns mythic, you just hit the jackpot, baby. That's good stuff, right? So that's my advice to newer players. Hold on to your CRs. Don't sell them, for a quick buck, as tempting as it might be. And the only other thing I would say about collectors is these collector packs do go on sale every now and then. Like, sometimes they'll do a special promotion where you can buy a crypto pack for 5K instead of 6K cryptos, which is nice. They'll also do things like do a ×5 drop rate on Big 5. So the Big 5 are collector cards like, who are they? They're generals. Well, it was General CR, Guru CR, Listeria CR, Kiki CR, and DJ Core CR. Those are like the Big 5. They've been generally like some of the most powerful cards in the game for a long time, and they've also been collector cards for a really long time. So they haven't been available in packs. So occasionally they'll do like a ×5 drop rate on Big 5 or on some of the other more popular CRs. So as a new player, it may be worth waiting till there's a deal like that. But I'm tempted to say, just as a new player, just get your hands on collectors whenever you possibly can. So as soon as you get 6K cryptos, just go buy collector packs as soon as you get those 6K. That would be my advice, just because, like I said, you don't want to miss out on a mythic, on one of these collectors that goes mythic, and then it's like, oh, I'll never get it. And you'll feel like that a lot at the beginning, early on in the game. You'll feel like you're chasing cards like constantly, and like, cards will turn collector or mythic, and you'll be like, oh, I wish I'd bought a copy of that card before it went CR. Crap, I'll never get it now. You'll go through that a lot. But just be patient and keep chasing those cards. Chase, when you get your hands on a collector, just hold on to it. Hold on to it. And, eventually, it seems like it'll take forever, but eventually you'll get a decent collection going. And now I want to talk about, so those are the currencies and the packs, basically. And now we can get into some more interesting discussion. So now that we've laid the groundwork, so to speak, right now there's another class of card that I forgot to talk about, and that's leader cards. So if we go to, where do we want to go here? Let's go to, we're going to go back to, not guilds, game, there we go, characters. So we're going to go back to the characters page here, and we're going to look at leaders. So leaders are basically, leaders are considered their own clan, basically, but they don't really function like other clans. So there are currently 15 leader cards, and you'll get these for free as you level up. So they're kind of like legend cards in that respect. However, you can sell leaders and trade leaders and all that stuff. So they are a little different than legend cards in that respect. But what a leader card does basically is they have a special ability that they grant to your entire team. So if you draw a hand with a leader card in it, a leader card and 3 other cards, then your leader and those 3 other cards get this ability, whatever it happens to be. So like Eric, for example, your whole team -1s the opponent's power, okay, for the whole game. So these are pretty powerful effects, and so they work well in a mono deck, for example, where you have like 7 cards from one clan and then like a leader card, for example. But they can also work, in split decks as well. If you want to do like a leader, 3 cards from one clan and 4 cards from another clan, you can do that. But leader cards just give your team a little extra boost, basically. They're all 5-star cards, so they take up a lot of space in your deck. And basically, you'll just get these cards as you level up. So let's go here to the, let's go to, what is it? Let's go to the missions now, the missions page. And we're going to take a look at leaders first of all, since we're already talking about leaders. So if you go down here, find the leader clan. So here are the leaders. So so as you can see, you get I got Robert Cobb once I reached level 100. There's Mr. Big Duke at level 90, level 80, 70, 60, 50, 45, 40. So early on, let's go to the last page here. So the first guy you'll get here is Timber once you reach level 5, and he increases the damage of your team. Next you get Vansar, and at level 10, and he helps you train up your cards, your unleveled cards. He helps you level them up really quickly, and so on and so forth. You get Hugo at level 15. So basically, every 5 levels, basically you'll get a new leader card until, what is it? Level 25. So 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Once you get to level 50, then it's every 10 levels you start getting another leader card. And then I believe they're now releasing a new leader, a 16th leader card that you'll get at level 150. So I guess it goes up by 50s after you reach level 100. But that's what leader cards are, and you can buy them on the market. You can also sell them on the market. I know a lot of newbies like to sell their leader cards as soon as they get them in order to buy, in order to increase their collection. That's okay if you want to do that. I'm okay with doing that. I wouldn't sell my CRs personally, but it's okay to sell your leader cards. If you want to sell them early on and then try to buy them back later, that's fine. I generally don't use a whole lot of leaders, and but you might be into that. But keep in mind that you will get those for free as you level up, and they will help. They will help you out, give you some more options for decks and things. So that's the other kind of card. But anyway, we're on the missions page now. So I want to tell you about missions. So first of all, occasionally they'll have flash missions. Okay, and they're temporary missions that you can do. They have this little lightning bolt symbol, and they'll say, for example, all these mastery missions are going right now. They're flash missions, and you got what is it? We've got 23 days that these missions will be available. So whenever there are flash missions, you want to look and see how much time you have to get those flash missions done, and just see if you can complete them. Missions give you free stuff basically. You can get free clints, you can get free credits, you can get free cards. A lot of them will reward you with cards, and it's free stuff. As a free-to-play player, the missions are essential to get free stuff and help you advance. So right now these are the flash missions that they've got going. It's basically win 15 fights with any of the different clans. But and I don't know if these will be around forever or not. I doubt it. But they're always throwing up new flash missions every now and then. So always look for those. The other thing I want to show you here are the weekly legend missions, and we talked about those a little bit earlier. That's how this is how you obtain legend cards. So every week, starting on Monday, they'll have new weekly legend missions, and so you have to complete these in sequence. So you do weekly legend 1 first, then weekly legend 2, weekly legend 3, and they're different. They have different objectives every week. So weekly legend 1 for this week, it was remove 20 pills from your opponents, for example. Next week it's going to be something different. It could be like deal 10 poison damage or something like that, right? So so you want to try to complete all 5 of these weekly legend missions every week if you possibly can. And they'll reward you with things like, for example, for weekly legend 1, I got Ashley. For weekly legend 2, I got Arawaka, and for weekly legend 3, I got Miss Lullaby. Miss Lullaby's a rare card. That's awesome, especially if you're a new player. You just got yourself a rare card there for finishing 5 fights, winning 5 fights in survivor mode, right? So the weekly legend missions, even if you don't finish all 5 of them every week, finish as many of them as you can, because you get prizes for every one that you complete. when you finish the 5th one every week, you'll get, like I said, you'll get a legend card, a random legend card that you don't already have in your collection. So that's nice. And then once you have all the legend cards, believe it or not, you might be able to get all the legend cards in your collection at some point. And once you do that, then every week when you finish weekly legend 5, it just gives you 7 credits. So that's cool. So as a free-to-play player, I suggest you do the weekly legend missions every week, if you can. And again, like, you know, it helps to have the larger your collection, the better off you'll be when it comes to weekly legend missions. Because, for example, removing 20 pills from your opponents, you know, if you only have like 1 or 2 cards in your collection that knock pills off, it kind of limits your ability to complete that mission. So so keep that in mind. You know, that's when having a big collection comes in handy, is when you're trying to do missions like these. So those are the weekly legend missions, and you know, you basically have all week to do those every week. And then we come down to our permanent missions, okay? And there are a whole ton of these perma missions. As you can see, there are 942 missions right now. And they're always adding new perma missions. But basically, you've got all these, let's see. So you have, you have these general missions, which are collection, flash mission, and legendaries. I don't know what are the legendary missions. I forget what those are. Are those still active? Oh yeah, those are just the weekly legend missions. So never mind. We already talked about those. But so collection here, you know, these are for reaching certain milestones in, like, spending cleanse, accumulating cleanse, buying credits, collecting characters, you know, getting, you know, these are all sorts of collection-based missions, and they'll reward you with points. What else do we have? So for completing a certain number of fights, you'll get points. For completing the tutorials, you get points. There are a lot of different missions here: poison missions, pills missions, damage missions, healing missions, etc. Each game mode has its own missions. So tournaments, survivor, elo, they all have missions that you can do. And finally, every clan has their own set of missions. So every clan has like 24 or so missions, it looks like, to complete. And so that's another reason you'll want to start collecting all the cards from all the other clans, is because you can do their clan missions, and that'll get you stuff. And as a free-to-play player, like I said, missions are essential. You know, you can get all these missions done, and they'll give you free cleanse, free credits, free crypto coins even. You know, you gotta always make sure you're working on missions, and there'll always be missions to work on. Trust me. And so as a free-to-play player, that's the main. These missions are the main way you're gonna make your money, get those currencies, right? Let's see, what else can we talk about missions? I think we're done with missions. So just keep missions in mind. It's a great way to get your hands on some currency. So now I'd like to go back here, and now we're going to talk about the different game modes. Okay. So if we go into play here, we talked about the dojo, right? Arcade here, that is you won't hit arcade right away, but as a new player, you do want to eventually unlock all these arcades. There are currently, what is it, 6? There are currently 6 of these arcades that you can unlock, and they cost 90 credits a piece, so they're not, so they're not cheap by any means. But basically, once you pay your 90 credits, then you can go ahead and play through these little, I guess they're kind of campaigns, I guess. They're like a campaign. You're playing against an AI, and the AI is not super bright, so you can usually get through these fairly easily. And actually, it supplies cards for you as well, so you don't have to use your own cards, your own collection. So you don't have to have a big collection to finish these either, because it'll give you cards on every level that you're going to use to defeat the AI. I suggest unlocking all of these eventually, but again, you don't have to do it all at once. But these are well worth the 90 credits, because you'll get a lot of prizes along the way, as well as a bunch of legend cards. There are certain legend cards that you can only get here in the arcade mode. So again, you're going to want to unlock these eventually. You also get CR, collector cards and all sorts of goodies in here. So I suggest unlocking these as you can. But again, there's no rush. You don't have to rush to unlock these. Make sure you're able to buy your new blood packs every week and stuff like that. Don't be spending on these until you have enough credits saved up. Okay. Especially if you're a free-to-play player. If you want to go spend money and buy yourself a bunch of credits, then by all means, go for it. Right? It supports the game. It's good for the game, and it's good for you if you got the money. If you got the money, honey. So that's arcade and the dojo. Those are the AI modes. Next, we go to the PvP modes. So first of all, free fight is basically just I kind of look at it as a sandbox mode. You can go in there and you can play just any format of deck you want. Keep in mind though that other players are going to be playing whatever they want too, though. So as a free-to-play player, you'll be at a little bit of a disadvantage in free fight at first, because other players can play all their big cards in a single deck if they want to. There's no star limit on decks or anything like that. So and there's really not a whole lot of point to free fight, except you do get XP, or sorry, battle points a little bit easier in free fight mode, so that helps you level up. And what else? I don't know. Oh, and sometimes you want to do missions in free fight mode, because it's just easier to get them done there in free fight mode. So a lot of people are doing missions in free fight mode a lot. The other mode here is training, and you can either do normal training or no pills training. And training mode is basically the way to get into training mode. You have to have at least one unleveled card in your deck, because that's what training mode is for. It's just for leveling up your cards. Fights don't count in training mode towards your win-loss percentage, so that's nice. So you can just go in there and bash it up and get your cards leveled up. And you can either do normal mode where you spend pills like you normally would, or you can do a no pills mode if you don't want to bother with pills and stuff like that. So next we have the ranked modes. Now, as a new player, I highly suggest you start playing in daily tournaments. That's where you're going to earn Clint's credits and even crypto coins pretty nicely. Tournaments happen every other hour, 24/7. Okay, so is there one happening right now? Let's see. I can't access this room. Why is that? Do you have to be a certain level to access tourneys? That's lame. I don't know if that's the case or not. Can we go to type 2? No. I would start playing in daily tourneys as soon as you possibly can. I would start out with type 1. Type 1 is where decks are limited to 25 stars worth of cards. And as you saw earlier, in our collection right now, with our new account here, it's already built us a 25-star deck here, right, with these cards. So you're already set and ready to go, and you could just jump into tourney mode, type 1, if it lets you. I don't know why it's not letting me. Maybe there's a level restriction. I don't know. Maybe you have to play in free fight mode until you're a certain level. But start playing in type 1 tourney, because like I said, it kind of evens the playing field, because other players are going to have 25 stars just like you, and so that's going to even the playing field for you as a new player. So I would start playing in type 1 tourneys, and then you can graduate up to type 2 tourneys at some point as well. But type 1 and type 2 both give you the same prizes, basically. In type 1 tourney, if you get in the top third of the tournament, which isn't really that difficult, honestly, if you play the full hour, you'll probably get in the top third. Just playing, just being an average player, you can do that. And that'll give you 1 credit every time you do that. And then you also get a certain amount of clints depending on where you place in the tournament. And you can get like 7, 8, 9, even 10,000 clints at a pop on these tourneys. So like I said, you can get a lot of clints really quickly by playing tourneys. So I highly suggest that. And it'll help you hone your skills and things as well. And if you place high enough in tournaments, I think it's in the top 50. Then you'll also get crypto coins, cryptos, baby, yeah. So start playing in daily tourneys as soon as you possibly can. EFC mode. Next, you want to start playing in EFC mode. This is where all the top players play, and this will hone your skills considerably. And you also get good prizes here in EFC mode, which is great. But you will need to kind of upgrade your deck a little bit before you start playing in EFC mode. And I think when I started, you had to be level 25 or higher to start playing in EFC mode. That might be why we can't get into tourney either. Maybe you have to be level 25 to get in there too. I don't know. But as soon as you can, start playing in EFC mode, and you'll get beat a lot at first probably, but it's also a restricted mode where you're restricted to 25 stars. So it is more of an even playing field. But players who are able to afford all the newer cards that come out in new blood packs will have an advantage over you in EFC mode. So that's why I say hit those new blood packs, you know what I mean? Because the more newer cards you can get, the better off you're going to be in EFC mode. And finally, survivor mode is more of it's a more advanced mode, so you won't be jumping into survivor really soon. Because in survivor mode you play with a deck of 12 cards rather than 8 cards. So you're going to want to start. So in survivor, other players who have a huge collection are going to have a big advantage over you. Because basically in survivor there's no star limit, so your hand, your deck can be like 50, 60 stars. You can use like a whole deck of 5 stars, for example, and you're not going to have that when you're just starting out. So survivor is something you need to kind of work your way into. And so the other ways to get stuff is here in your daily box. So to pick up your daily box, you just have to, I think, win 10 rounds. So in our little tutorial at the beginning of part 1, as you saw, we won 4 rounds in tutorial, and that counts for your daily box. So we've already won 4 rounds. We just need to win 6 more. You know, and that, I mean, that's like you know, like a couple matches max, basically. So getting your daily box is really easy. You just have to play, you know, 3 or 4, maybe 5 games in a day to open your daily box. And then there's also, can we go in EFC mode? We can't. There's also an EFC daily box that you can get for winning 10 fights every day. Or is it? No, it's just playing 10 games in EFC mode. So you want to play your 10 daily games in EFC mode to open that box, and then and you can also open your vanilla daily box. Here is what I call it. It's just open those daily boxes every day. They'll give you cards and clints and credits as well. And so that kind of concludes our beginner's guide. So as a beginner, what I would say first is hit those tutorials, get those out of the way. Then start playing in daily tournaments regularly, you know, as regularly as you can, as you have time for. And start completing missions, and do your daily boxes every day. And if you just do those 4 things, you know, as a free-to-play player, you'll be able to make it in this game, honestly. When I started, I kept thinking, like, oh, you know, there's got to be a ceiling. I'm going to reach a ceiling eventually, right, as a free-to-play player. And there's going to be some catch where, you know, I have to spend money now or something like that. But that's not the case. You know, like I said, if you just play the game, do your missions, do your weekly legend missions, open your daily boxes, all that stuff, you can advance, and you can do well in this game. And that's another cool thing about this game too, is it's skill-based. It's honestly skill-based. So even if you don't have a big collection, you know, if you're good at using the cards you have, you can advance in this game and do really well. So it's all based on skill and experience. You know, there's no pay to win in this game. There's maybe a little bit of pay to win, but not like in other games I've seen. So so this is a really good game for players to just jump into and start advancing. Anyway, I'm HipHoppa. Thank you so much for joining me here for Hoppa's Hip Tips. I hope these tips have been beneficial to you, and I wish you luck on your UR journey, baby. And if you have any more questions or anything, hit me up here on YouTube. I'd be glad to answer your questions, and please like and subscribe to my channel for more Hoppa's Hip Tips, you know what I'm saying? And I will see you in the next video, everybody. Bye-bye.